Left of the box. I've been talking a lot about some stories here in Ontario. I live in Ontario. It would make sense. And also Premier Doug Ford is just like the worst. And recently, alcohol has been made available in convenience stores. And I know to a lot of people outside of Ontario, you're still kind of confused with that. Like, what? Yes, it used to be restricted to the LCBO and the beer stores and craft breweries and stuff like that. You couldn't just go to a convenience store and get alcohol. And do you know what? I think that was a good thing. It was a good thing. You know, all the revenues from the LCBO went back into the, it was provincially run, so all that revenue went back into the provincial coffers to help with social services and things of that sort. It kept it out of the hands of a lot of people, minors and whatnot, or made it harder to steal. And but I felt it was a good thing because there's a lot of convenience store owners who don't want people coming into their stores to steal alcohol, to be aggressive when it comes to alcohol and things. And it gets more and more easier for people who are underage to get it. Like it is just, I think it was a good thing because it was still available to buy. Anyone could still buy it who was of age. It wasn't as, convenient as going to the store and buying a lottery ticket or something of that sort. Because this country does kind of try to crack down on promoting toxic lifestyles. Like when buying cigarettes in stores here, they're actually covered up so you can't see the brand names. And we have pictures, like really bad pictures of like, this is what will do to your lungs if you buy this pack of cigarettes and things of that sort. So we try to actually not promote things that can be harmful, and alcohol is very harmful. But Doug Ford decided to spend about $1 billion to get it into stores, convenience stores, a year earlier than he planned. And I covered it in great detail in my last live stream about some of the motivations behind that and why. And so it has now been official as of Thursday. Alcohol is now available in convenience stores in Ontario. So Premier visits Collingwood to launch alcohol sales in convenience stores. 9 Collingwood stores have received licenses under the program, which officially launched Thursday. Again, just the way he is promoting alcohol, I don't think is appropriate for the Premier. This isn't something that actually benefits the province. We have underfunded ERs. We have people struggling to get a family doctor. And here he is saying basically to people, drink your worries away. He's more than happy to promote alcohol, but will do nothing to actually improve the quality of the lives of the people in Ontario. Nearly 4,200 convenience stores in Ontario began selling alcohol today, and Premier Doug Ford was in Collingwood to celebrate. Ford attended Circle K on his first street to mark the occasion. So Circle K on the board of directors is former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, and they're most likely going to be buying out 7-Eleven. And part of the reason why they wanted to get the alcohol deal done early was because all of that had to be done. Again, I did a very in-depth video on this that you can find out more about. Licensed stores will be able to sell beer, cider, wine, and ready-to-drink alcoholic beverages as part of what the province calls a phased expansion. The government is also permanently allowing the transfer of wine and spirits between locations that have the same owners and or affiliate license as a way to help bars and restaurants effectively manage inventory, and will allow licensed grocery and convenience stores to display alcoholic beverages. So also back when the LCBO was the seller of alcohol, that's where bars actually had to buy their alcohol from too. But now they're finding workarounds. And also, if you're going to celebrate the launch of alcohol in stores, could you at least pick a Canadian brand? Maybe go to a Canadian craft brewery? Just saying, if you're going to do this, Celebrate Canadian alcohol. Just saying. It's not like there isn't a lack of it. Some things that are of note when it comes to this story. So this 7-Eleven fully stocked with beer and coolers sits directly across the street from an elementary school. Unlike cannabis stores, which have to be 150 meters away from schools or daycare, the Ford government placed no restriction on where alcohol could be sold. Funny that, because also not too long ago, and I have a very long clipped video about this, he closed down 10 of the 17 safe consumption sites for being too close to schools. So he's being very picky, like very lenient when it comes to alcohol on where they're allowed to sell it. So right across from a school is fine to sell alcohol, but not marijuana or cannabis, and no safe consumption sites near them as well. But alcohol, right across the street is fine. Like, how is this not going to be a problem if it's right by a high school? I've been to high school. I was a high school student once. I know what high school kids can be like when it comes to alcohol. That's a problem. Like, if you're going to expand it out, at least use the same restrictions that you would use for cannabis. No, if use the same restrictions, just do that at a bare minimum. Toronto resident, a good account to follow if you're still in the hostile fart sauna, says Ontario Finance Minister still hasn't explained how he's paying for these booze, just piling it on the $100 billion in debt Doug Ford's government has accumulated in 6 years. Yes. How are you paying for it? Yeah, and like I mentioned, Pierre Poilievre is like, oh no, the debt explodes under the Liberals. Actually, no. Again, credit where credit's due. The debt doesn't generally explode under the Liberals, and they often do a decent job of balancing the books. Conservatives, on the other hand, wow, are they ever bad at it? And where's all this money coming from? Oh, the taxpayers for sure. But at what expense? Just to get alcohol into convenience stores a year early. Almost $1 billion was spent on that. Taxpayer money. Taxpayer money goes into the ads spent on promoting all of this alcohol. You know, we have laws around promotion of cigarettes. Shouldn't we have those same laws about promotion of alcohol? Again, can we at least have some equal standards? But the thing is that Doug Ford doesn't have buddies that are making money off of, you know, cigarettes or cannabis. But he has buddies that are making money off of alcohol. And so he's working for them. He's not working for the people of this province. And here we have more conservatives here in this province celebrating the fact that you can just go to a convenience store and get alcohol. And also, I featured her before. She was all upset over compostable lids at Tim Hortons. But she's thrilled now that you can just walk into a store and buy alcohol. And as I've mentioned in some of my previous videos, you have to have your smart serve in order to sell alcohol. Which means a lot of people won't be able to work. A lot of people don't feel safe working at stores that sell alcohol. A lot of people are losing jobs over this, basically. But also we have this lovely map here that was made and paid for again by the conservative government of this province that will help you find where you can go to get alcohol. Yet a map like this doesn't exist to help people find a family doctor. Because this is where the Doug Ford government puts their priorities, is into alcohol. Not, you know, family doctors or ways, again, that actually help to improve your life. Yeah, and just somebody saying, like, is it appropriate for the Premier of Ontario to openly promote drinking alcohol? In Ontario, and this is coming from an MD, it leads to 6,000 deaths a year, 22,000 hospital admissions, and 194,000 ER visits a year. And remember what Doug Ford has been defunding is our health care. And he's been doing cuts there, and it's becoming harder to get into the ER and see a doctor and stuff. So how much more worse is it going to get when alcohol becomes this readily available to people? And this is from a QP member, which is the union, part of the unions, big unions here in Ontario. 1,350 on hallway stretchers, 250,000 on surgery waitlists, only 3,000 new hospital beds planned of 16,000 needed. Frequent ER closures, funding less this year than last. Isn't alcohol and convenience store just a pixie dust to distract us from our deteriorating hospital system? Yes, it is. It is. And Doug Ford has been making bank during his time in office because he's built like a mega cottage up by his old cottage, which you can now get on Airbnb. You can rent his old family cottage on Airbnb for the low, low price of, what is it? $750 for a minimum 3-night stay. And this cottage wasn't big enough for Doug Ford. It wasn't nice enough for Doug Ford because he built another mega cottage right next to it. Where is he getting the money to do that? On a premier's salary? He's making enough to make this cottage an Airbnb because his cottage is so much bigger. Where's he getting the money for this? That makes you wonder. Why is Doug Ford in office? It's not to help the people of Ontario. It's to help himself and his rich buddies.